do version control, since a lot of people had questions about that, and we'll use one of the version control system which is offered in the Google API page, which is code.google.com project hosting. But the lessons will apply to any version control system, and then we can take questions about any of the Google API stuff. So of the 200 or whatever that are offered. So if that sounds good to you, then stay, and if not, then I don't take it personally.
Let's make it short so that we can move to the API.
Make it as short as possible. And go ahead. Right, so that's actually what I wanted to do, was just go through them all. So can I ask how many people were here before? For the last session? Okay, so 50-50. So you make my life difficult, because half of you are going to be mad at me no matter what. Right? So, and then how many people would rather do the version control first and then APIs overview? So raise your hand if you want version control first, and then raise your hand if you want API overview first. Okay, there's a slight majority for API overview first, which surprises me, but okay. Okay, let's begin since we're just doing the overview. So a little bit about halftime, plus 8 minutes, and those of you who want to see version control, feel free to remind me, say you promised to do version control now. We'll do that. And then we'll actually take the project that we were doing up till now, and I'm actually going to put it up there. And I haven't done it in years, so we'll see what sort of problems I have to be entertaining. Okay, so the idea here, for those of you who just walked in, is we've come to an agreement that will go through all of these APIs and just say what they are, and there's about 200 of them, so maybe I don't know all of them, but I'll give you like a brief overview of what it is, why you would want to use it, why you wouldn't want to use it, what the alternatives would be, so if it's useful for your project. And we'll try not to spend too much time on each one of them, unless there's extreme interest, but just in the interest of giving it all fair treatment, because they're in no particular order. Okay, so the Google Plus platform, you all know what Google Plus is, and you're probably interested in it. So, I mean, there's various things you could build around this. So let's say in the last presentation we gave an example of using Google Plus API for what? +1 button, right? So you just kind of increase traffic to your site because somebody shares it, then her people in the circle see it and come back, right? And so your business could also have a Google Plus page and share that so people could follow that. Now, so that's how you would build user profiles, but then we have something like Hangouts. So how could you use a Hangout as a developer, like use a Hangouts API to build a business? What sort of Hangouts could you do? Video conferencing, yes. Gaming, definitely. There's some specific, I mean, basically it's at its basis, it's all going to be sort of video chat, video conferencing, but there's things, right now a huge industry is distance learning. So either you have one professor and many people watching, but you also have the one-on-one tutors, which is where they really get you, where you really got to pay. So right now, it's sort of common, it's a growing industry. Let's say in the US you have the math teachers, in other countries are much better and cheaper, and so you have your kid's private tutor actually talks on, let's say on Skype, with his math teacher in India. Of course, then you have to work out the timing, but so stuff like this. So you could do this with a Google Plus Hangout, and just, since you have, the API gives you a little bit more power, right? You can have it within your website, have the whole billing payment model, maybe lesson plans, and transcriptions underneath and everything. So you could build quite a business on this. And you know that, has anybody here heard of the Khan Academy? Yeah. So, right, I mean, this is big stuff. It was the Khan Academy which inspired Sebastian Thrun, who was head of AI, I guess, at Google. He got Stanford to offer these AI courses for free because he was inspired by the Khan brothers, and the Khan brothers have been at Google to talk many times, right? So like, this stuff is really huge right now. So that's an example of something that you could do with this. Any questions about that? Okay. So Google Apps. So Google Apps is, what we're talking about here is really Google Apps for your domain. So let's say if you go to name.com and you purchase a domain, this is a checkbox, and then you'll get it automatically. But if you already have a domain, you can still go back and add it. It's just you have to fill out more forms since it's not set up as easily. Google, I mean, the advantage is really just that you have this sort of clean organization. It's the same. Google itself has. We don't have our it's Gmail when I go into it, but it's really at my email at google.com. So when we create a document with Google, it's just by default only share with people at google.com, etc. And so, and you can, by the same token, you can have app engine apps that are only shared with people at your domain. You can have almost every one of these things you can restrict in that way. So let's say spreadsheets and forms. So that's a very big topic, and it's not entirely technical because you don't necessarily have to code to create your own Google Apps domain. Right? Okay, Google account authentication. So to me, it'll depend what you want to do, but I'm guessing. So let's say you already have users, and they already have accounts that are not Gmail accounts. So let's say they have, like at kice.edu or something like that. So can you, can they ever get a Gmail account with that email address? If the domain administrator who wants to keep using that email, their existing email system. The answer is pretty surprising. There's a lot of places in Google where you can actually log in with any email. They have to set up their password for those purposes, but you can do that. So, and that actually, these days, most of the systems make it pretty easy. So like in the previous talk, we're talking about App Engine, and we're saying, can I control which users can come to this site? Okay, in that case, it's totally free. You can just say, okay, yes, this person at yahoo.com can or can't, right? So there's no restriction. But if you You can also do it via Google accounts, and the user signs up. They can be in their Gmail, and up at the top it says john@yahoo.com. And so that actually, I think, to me, that takes away much of the need for the Google account authentication, because whether the user's on Android or coming to your App Engine app, if you're already using the Google platform, then you probably won't have to be doing authentication yourself. The real case for doing it here is if you want some sort of key token system, anonymous users, something like that. Google TV. Anybody have any questions about Google TV? You know what it is? Exactly. So it's running on the Android platform. It's a fork of the Android platform for television sets, working with Sony and so on. And then you can also put apps on there. And I don't know what the exact state of it is, but the idea would be you can take other Android apps and regular Android apps that run on your phone, and when you sit down on your sofa, you lean back and they're there on the TV, and then people would make apps specifically targeted at the TV audience, which I think we all agree is a big audience, as big as the mobile audience. You won't, let's see, so at this point you're talking about, well, so that's basically can I get a Hangout inside an Android app? And that I don't know. I mean, there's always a way that any Android app can also just be a frame around some HTML. So in the extreme case, yes, there's always a way. If there's special support for it, I don't think so, because they're both rough. The Google Plus stuff is relatively new, so the Google Plus API is just like it's just JavaScript right now. There's nothing Android specific to it. Okay, so did that answer the question? Google AdSense Host API. So you all know that you can make a website and put ads on it and make money from it. Any questions about that? Go ahead.
I've submitted many requests to AdSense to include my account, but their reply was, or your reply was, that my account was matching an existing account, and therefore they are not providing me the access or the facility of AdSense.
And did you already make an account, you think?
No.
Okay, so probably you need to escalate this, but yeah, you know who to talk to. But, any other questions? No, we'll pay you. So receive the money? Yeah. Anybody here using AdSense already? Or have used in the past? Already? So it's an interesting thing just to try. Right? Any website you have, you could put Google Ads on it. Now, because cutting you a check, sending the check costs a little bit, you have to reach some level above that. Enough people clicked on your ads, viewed your ads, so your site has to be a little bit popular or be there for a long time for them to send you a check. But so they're sort of opposite things. So AdWords is like if you want to, let's say you don't even have a website, you just have a car dealership without a website, and you're gonna go take out ads on Google.com, and then when people, and it's in Jeddah, it's et cetera, so you have your specific demographic, you're gonna start an AdWords campaign, and then wherever Google ads are shown, so on Google.com search results, maybe people searching for cars get it, and then for AdSense, you need to have a website, yeah. But it doesn't, you'd be surprised how little tech savvy you have to be to do AdSense, right? Because you could do something like, let's say, if you put up your YouTube video, you get some of the revenue from the ads. That if you have people watch your video. If you put up a Google Sites site, you all know Google Sites, right? It doesn't. It's like using Microsoft Word or something, right? It's not technical. You can say yes, put ads here, right? And so like, okay, we'll see what money I get. It's your decision. Do I want to have ads on my site or not? Is the money worth it to me or not? So.
Can you filter the ads, the type of ads that you can get?
I'm guessing so. I actually don't know about that. As I know it from the user perspective, you can, but not from. I'm guessing there's already a lot of filtering going on. I mean, basically, we make most money when people see the ads that they want to see. So we already try, and of course, we try not to put offensive things, etc. And then, of course, people try to get around the offensive things. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. It's like half the company, right? So it's a huge area. But there's control. What kind of control? Like if you can say never have these words, probably it's more like categories like family friendly and stuff like that. Right? Pardon? Oh, iGoogle? Who here knows what iGoogle is? Yeah, so it's like a homepage and you put these little widgets on. So it's sort of like another platform, but a very, very simple one. Something like, they have like maybe like a clock or like you can see your email inbox. I can actually that's working out. Let's see if we bought this domain. So I create my own custom individual Google homepage, right? So I'll say I want it to be these things, sports, and then we can start around it. Let's say, does it have it? So this way, like my news would be localized. So I have stuff like this. So you can make apps for people who want to have such homepages. And this isn't the only place that it appears. There's other little places. Anybody could make a site that accepts iGoogle gadgets. You could make your own site also accept such little gadgets. It's google.com/IG or iGoogle.com. So the identity toolkit, who here knows what OAuth is? Open authentication. So this would allow like federated authentication. So similar to what I'm talking about before, there's just a million ways right now to say log in somewhere else with your Facebook account or with your Google account. And why is this useful to you? So basically, you start a startup, and now you want to have some account system there. And people want, and you want people to sign up for your startup, you want it to take off. Now you have, there's two different, I'm going to offer you two different worlds. One world you say, okay, I made my site, and like, it's really, really good, but people don't know what this site is until they try it, and to try it, they have to sign up. Have you ever come to a site and it says like, please create a username and password, and then you say, oh, okay, I'll do it later, right? And so the whole idea here is, you guys, if I don't know how your trade-off is, but personally for me, I'll never create a small site and require people to create an account. It will never be successful. It hurts it so much. So you always want to say, here, just log in with your Facebook, log into this mobile app with your Facebook, log in with, or with your Gmail account, or with your Twitter account, or whatever. They're going to already have one of those, then they just click and continue. So the OAuth is another way to do that. Maybe it's gonna, which one is the best way will depend a lot on on the application, on the users that you're targeting, and so on. But okay, so let's see. Go on.
If I let the user log in by using his Gmail account,
Mm-hmm.
can I keep import his email to my database?
No.
I can.
No. So let's say on App Engine they log in with their Gmail account, or I say Google accounts because, like I said, it doesn't have to be at gmail.com. But so they log in their Google account. You cannot